Jim Merkel once worked as a military engineer. Years ago, he had a dramatic change of heart and devoted his life to working for a more sustainable economy, one that helps the poor and relies far less on consumer goods.
Jim Merkel lives in Belfast, and next week the Colonial Theatre in Belfast will be screening his new documentary called Saving Walden's World. The film is about his effort to find places where people are consuming less but leading better, healthier, more environmentally friendly lives. It was an undertaking in which Merkel learned as he went. Let me start with this question. Do you have any background in filmmaking? Had you ever made a documentary before?
No. So this is the first one.
What was it that made you think you could pull it off?
I'm a nut, I'm a Mainer, and I've ridden across the continent twice on a bicycle, and I didn't think I could do that. And I just said, one day I'm going to do it. So one day I said I was going to make a film. I'd written a book, and that was 3 years sitting in a seat, glued to the seat, writing a book. And I said, I'll never do that again. Then it's 8 years making a film.
Since becoming a father, the stakes feel higher all the time.
Our future generations are really in a pickle if we don't change the course of what we're doing.
So you set out to make a film about sustainability. You could do an epic documentary series that is 25 parts. How did you decide to narrow the focus so you could come up with a topic that you could reasonably tackle?
You look around the world and there's like dystopia after dystopia between like climate change, the sixth extinction. And I wanted to find examples where people were actually, whole societies were actually making the world more sustainable and better for the poor. And so I had these three criteria: small families, low consumption, and healthy people.
I was researching for years, where can we find examples of sustainability, of low footprint societies that are having small families? And from the data, I picked out this society in Kerala, India, Cuba, and Slovenia.
What kind of a reception did you get in these places when you started talking to people and filming them and telling them about your project?
What was so unusual is people are used to Americans coming there to tell them they're doing something wrong. And here I'm asking about their success, and people really lit up, because a lot of people, they would think that they want to follow America's example of hyper consumerism. But then once you start talking to them, you find something else, that there is a big pride in what they're actually of their life. And they don't think anybody's interested, but actually the small things they're doing are phenomenally, from a sustainability scientist, they're just mind-bogglingly effective.
We see a wholesome life. We see really happy people living on a fraction of the footprint.
We dream about not our nation, not our country, not our place, but dream of whole world.
What surprised you when you actually got out into the field? What was it that came as something you had not expected?
Really, the thing was, women. Women are at the leading edge of this huge transformation. When they have control over their fertility, their bodies, they can choose how many children they have, and they have access to higher education. They have dreams. Like if you're a Maine girl and your parents are poor in the lower 40%, they're not going to pay for your college. But why does Kerala, India have free college for everyone? So a 16-year-old girl is dreaming of a life of his doctor, a lawyer, a poet, a scientist, not thinking like, I'm going to find a guy with a big pickup truck. And it changes their life.
People are going to look at Cuba and they're going to say Cuba is a country that does not allow freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press. They're going to say, is that a model that the United States should in any way be emulating? What would you say?
Well, I would say I took a $200,000 gamble in going there because I could be fined, because my country is the one who stops me from going there. The Cuban government didn't stop. They approved every single interview, probably 30 interviews. They approved every single one. And meanwhile, the State Department seized the money for me to produce in Cuba. Even though it's legal by the law, they still seized my money and wouldn't return it. So I had to go there with a big fanny pack full of money to do my production. So I want people to see that there's two sides to something that you won't necessarily see in the mainstream media.
Obviously, as a filmmaker, you're not going to change the world, but no doubt when you started this project, you wanted to make a bit of a change. What do you hope this film will accomplish?
Just to see that solutions are possible, like a better world is possible. And I say in the film, I'm never going to throw in the towel on my son's world. They're 14 now, and I'm never going to throw in the towel. And I think us adults have to leave a better world for our kids and not say, hey, you'll figure it out. But I think while I'm still alive, I'm going to do everything I can to make the world better for him.
Jim Merkel's documentary, Saving Walden's World, has been or will be shown at film festivals around the world, Spain, India, Venezuela, and more. You can see it a week from today, May 14th, at the Colonial Theatre in Belfast.
Jim Merkel will be at the screening to talk about the film. You can get the details in the 207 section of our app or website. And